welcome to the IE Productions channel. This is a brand new concept coming in to the IE Productions on YouTube, and kind of wanted to make it a little bit of a more of an open forum, but kind of focusing that open forum on music in itself. So to get that started, I actually have my first guest here, an up-and-coming artist from Ireland with a very unique and very molding kind of style, very reminiscent of the early to mid 2000s, listening to his album, and it just wanted to give him an opportunity to be able to talk about it and get a little more details on what the concept of is, the ideas, and then get to know him a little bit better. So my name is Jose, and today I have Jay St. James from Ireland. So welcome, Jay.
Very pleased to meet you. Very happy to be here.
Thank you, man. So appreciate it for accepting the interview. Like I said, it's like we talked before we started recording, this is kind of like a emerging concept that I've had an idea for, but in the same way, just kind of giving promotion reels, but getting people to be able to actually talk about this craft, a very specific craft that's one always a little bit hard and difficult to break into, but seldom in my personal experience have I had that opportunity to be able to talk to other people interested in it, or even really trying to make it work in the industry, especially with the emergence of streaming, just live music in general going out in a different direction from how it was in the early 2000s and the 90s. But before we get into some of the specifics of that, how about you go ahead and you tell us a little bit about yourself? Where are you from? How did you start in music? And I don't know, a little bit of a couple people that maybe inspired you.
Okay, I'm from Belfast. I grew up in Belfast, which is in the north of Ireland. So we belong to the UK. And I grew up in quite a large family, and it was like music just everywhere. So whenever I was a kid, it was sort of like music was almost two-tiered. The music I heard on the radio when I was growing up with, that was like secondary, because it was all like aunts and uncles songs, and they were listening to, there was Billy Joel and Eric Clapton and Elton John, and to me that was like real music. And then the music in the charts, sort of the Britney Spears stuff, was just like, oh, that's just for kids. So I really like the grown-ups songs whenever I was growing up. And I loved music. I was about 11, I think. It was going into, in the UK, at secondary school. So you do your primary school until you're 11, and then you move into secondary school. And it was, oh, sorry, I just knocked my camera. And it was in between, I decided I wanted to play the piano. But where I'm from is it's pretty tough, it's sort of tough, and men are tough, and men do boys things. So I told my family I wanted to play the piano, and they sort of looked at me like, you're going to die now. Your life's going to get so much harder. Yeah, so I started playing piano about 11, and then it was an old family thing taped to TV. When people used to record things at TV, and my granny had this performance of Billy Joel in concert, and I was like, oh, I want to do that. I want to do what he does, because the music I was growing up with was very computer generated. You weren't often hearing instruments. It was sort of very sort of tech based, and I was the bubblegum pop music. It was the rise of American Idol, and there wasn't much happening in pop music that I could connect with that like other kids were into. So I sing Billy Joel, and I went, oh, I want to do what he does.
So yeah, no, that's really interesting that you mentioned it like that, especially how a lot of people usually talk about like, oh, the music that I listen to is just like, it was the biggest thing that was happening at the time. It was always the, like you said, the bubblegum Britney Spears and then the Backstreet Boys or something. But yours was actually influential from your parents, which, like I said, I can say from my experience, I struggled a lot with the music that my parents listened to up until I was later in my years, closer into my early 20s rather than anything. So But
No, there's actually family stories of like when I'm like 3 years old, crying at Elton John records. Just very much not a child of my time at all.
oh no, what would you, what you would be kind of considered more of an old soul in that sense
Yeah.
at this point within the music, within at least within the musical taste. Well, speaking with that, so Billy Joel, Elton John, what other artists in your youth, or that your parents, that yeah, that your parents were
Oh,
listening
I
to?
like I like the out of the music charts when I was a kid. I love Fall Out Boy.
Oh yeah,
I used to love Fall Out Boy. I like sort of that emo sort of stuff. I like that. And that was like as close to real music as what I could find. So I like Fall Out Boy, and who else? Not real. I was never into Coldplay and things like that because Coldplay. I like hip hop music. Some hip hop music I really like. It's sort of a bad word today, but Kanye made amazing records.
yeah,
The Kanye made some great records. And from a production standpoint, making me own music, that influences a lot of how we produce, because hip hop's always been groundbreaking as far as records sound, and I like the craft of songwriting, and I like that sort of classic approach. But as far as it finds your ears. As far as making a record, um, I'm very interested in the great producers, and a lot of the great producers in the past 20 years have all been in hip hop music.
yeah. Yeah, one of the actually recent interviews that well, I know interviews, actually documentaries that I saw was for Pharrell Williams. Pharrell Williams was all over the
Oh
place
yeah,
in the early 2000s. I don't know if you've seen his most recent, well, actually his biographic Lego documentary, Brick
no,
by Brick.
oh no, I heard they were making that. Is it good?
Yeah, it's actually, so it's really, think Lego movie with a lot of narration,
Yeah,
but I can tell you from somebody who enjoys every single facet of music and genres beyond genres, and I love films as well, is it's not disappointing. If once you start, you're gonna love, especially if you're into hip hop, like you said with Kanye West and all that, you're gonna be
yeah.
surprised with the
Oh,
amount of people that he was involved with in the industry in the early late 90s to
oh,
early
Pharrell's
2000s.
Pharrell's career's been stunning. His career's been stunning, and the man never gets any older. He's the same age as he was in the
Yeah.
90s. He doesn't get any older.
Oh yeah.
No, his body of work's unbelievable. The amount of careers that he's touched into is something else. Yeah, I'd heard about that. I wasn't too sure if it was going to be. I'm not a fan of biopics. I think they're the past sort of 4 or 5 years. They've been all quite tragic. I've never been a fan of biopics. If you know anything about the artist, normally then you watch a biopic. The biopic's generally terrible. It's
Yeah.
a fictionalized thing for the cinema.
Oh yeah. No, this is one of those documentaries where for sure it's a listen to it. It's like, don't get me wrong, the what do you call it, the visuals, like this, like I said, the animated brick visuals, they're good. They don't do justice to the story in reality, but if you just want to listen to it, you can literally just listen to the entire documentary, and it gives you a better sense of how it was, that his sense of
Um,
his auditory recognition, I guess I'll put it like that, in his production
yeah.
style, really came from just listening and listening and just fine tuning that ear to be able to take the samples and to create stuff.
Thing is, with production of this generation, it's been like in the past 20 years, because I'm such a music historian. I just love it. And if you look back and sort of back in the old days, as people used to apprentice, in studios that were
Mhm.
going in, you would work in, you would make tea, then you would become an assistant engineer and an engineer, and then maybe one day you would get to produce. But because of the technology that we have our hands on, there's an awful lot of the new sounds. It's how things have sounded have been just created in people's homes. Spoke again just with their ear. I would like something to sound like this. So I'll make a record that sounds like that. And I quite like where we're at. I quite like where pop music's at right now, or sort of sonically and production wise.
Gotcha. Yeah. No. So, well, sticking on that for and a little bit focus on you with your production style. like you said, there's been a lot of breakthroughs in the way that people are literally able to make music. And hell, even just like us, I'm literally recording on a microphone on a laptop with an interface. And had we talked about this 10 years back, you would need an entire studio production to even be able to make up a
Yeah,
just a basic podcast.
yeah.
How is your current production? I guess your current production setup. What are the
We
eases and difficulties of making music at home?
finances is the biggest holdback. But I basically have my entire sort of sitting room's a studio. There's the electric piano, you've got the computer, microphone, everything's set up. So we basically go from chilling and watching TV to going over and contributing a bit to the record to going back and chilling and watching TV. And that sort of has been the process for the past year.
Past year, man.
So
And
it's
you
very much it's permanently part of life. You know, we're always, you know, you'll be sitting having an evening in. My other half, my partner's helped engineer, has done most of the engineering work because I'm technologically not awfully good. I'll hear things and make noises, and then my other half's able to frame that. Yeah, so we could be sitting just having a night in, and then an idea comes up, or someone has an arrangement idea, and we just go and do it there and then. It's very organic. It's like all the time, all the time.
gotcha, man. So you just kind of feel the music at the moment, and it just inspires you to try to either start writing down or
Yeah, for me, most of the songs I don't generally write within the recording process. It's I decided I was going to record this. Um, I'll give you a bit of background. Had been sort of doing gigs from I was like 15. I gigged for just shy of 10 years. Then lockdown landed, and for me, can you remember the point where the musicians were everyone was on social media asking people to, will you pay me cash? Will you pay me cash because it can't work, because it can't work. And for me, I just felt a bit, I can't go on, you know, because the plumber down the street's out of work as well, and the guy that used to work here is out of work. Why would I want to go and burden people with asking them for to keep me alive? What, you know? Why do I have a right to go and ask people? Uh, what stopped me from going and getting a job? I just wanted to get a job. I went and got a job, and I remember I got offered an interview similar to this just at the end of 2020, and I turned it down because I says I just felt like I wasn't that guy anymore. I felt so removed from being an artist. I was just, I know, out earning, keeping a home going, and I dipped toes in a wee bit over the past couple of years. I was always wanting, but it's just such a lack of confidence, and I'm wondering if I can create something that fits. And then it was just last year, so it's 2024, sitting watching the Grammy Awards, just sitting watching the Grammy Awards, and I had this collection. I'd already got about 30 songs composed, and I'm sitting watching the Grammy Awards, and everyone's playing. You know, you've all these different genres and Latin music and hip hop music and pop music and rock music, and Joni Mitchell. She'd done this amazing performance, and I just thought, I'm just going to make my own record. I don't care what anyone else is doing. Don't care what anyone else sounds like. I'm going to pick the songs I think works best and just make my own record. And it started virtually like that night. It started that night, and over about a 10-month period, that's when the record was created. While I'm working 40 hours a week at a day job.
yeah, you kind of have to have that passion to be able to keep pursuing something a little bit more than just a hobby. Which, like I said,
Uh, for me, it can't be. For me, it can't be. For if music being a hobby to me is like alcohol, like an alcoholic going, I'll have one wine. I can't. It controls me too much. It's too much a part of me. It's either all or nothing at all. I I just need to be doing it and doing it for real. Um, I think the purpose we create music is for people to hear it. We create music to communicate with others, something to say to people. I don't understand putting in an awful lot of time, an awful lot of effort, and an awful lot of life. Just have something sitting on your computer, just sitting there. Oh yeah, that's just for me. No, it's not. That you create art, and art's for other people to be involved, for other people to take it and make it their own.
Yeah, very true. Very true when it comes to that, especially like I said, especially from hobby to passion. And it sounds very, very much like you truly are passionate about the music, especially like you said, like you mentioned, having been doing gigs basically from 10 to 15 years, and then all of a sudden it just stops. It just stops. So
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
that it's a jarring
I
moment.
knew nothing else. I knew nothing else. That's all I knew. That was life. That was just life, and then it just stopped. And it's tough. It's tough to sort of find your feet. And but it's worked out for me as a person. It's worked out well. When you're working in music, you're very very self-centered, and you don't know how self-centered you are until you stop and take a look at other people's lives and sort of speak to more people. You know, in the day-to-day life, is go to work. You know, go in the break room, have like a normal life, and then you hear stories and you see people's lives. And I've grown a lot more empathy and a lot more understanding and care for people. It's been good. It's been hard being away from what I love, but I feel like I've really grown that time.
Gotcha. Do you think with I guess kind of reintegrating yourself back into the general society, I guess I'll put it like that. Do you think it's actually
There's something
helping?
about
I'm sorry.
what? Sorry. Go.
Oh yeah, well I mean saying that you're just kind of reintegrating yourself back into general society, like I said, kind of separating both your life from the passion of making music to the day-to-day life. Do you think that there's been a lot of that there might be some extra inspiration in how you'll be recording more projects in the future?
Uh, certainly. I feel that yeah, as a musician, if you're working as a musician, you're living as a musician, you're slightly spoiled. You know, you're you're generally choosing your own hours. You'll be working hard, but you choose your own hours. You control your own life, and so this was so post lockdown was my first experience, sort of doing the day to day, like you do it, and I think I understand people better. I think I can. I think I understand just the simplicity. The simplicity. I think in a vacuum, musicians get very complicated. We get very complicated, and you get very highbrow almost. You'll create stuff that's right over the top of people's heads. When what are people really interested in as far as music goes? They want to feel something they can associate with, and something they can. That's it. You know, we don't have to get too complicated on it.
Yeah, very true. Well, with that then, let's actually talk about your album, You and Other People. Sorry, You and the Others, correct?
The others, yeah,
You and the
yeah,
Others.
you and the other.
So that the whole project itself, you recorded over a span of 10 months,
Yep.
and a lot of the titles, looking over at a lot of the titles, the one that really popped out to me was Nola and Heart of Iron. But going from a couple ones that you mentioned that you really want to talk about is like You'll Make It Love. How did that one come about?
The day becomes night, and the moon usurps the sun. We are safe inside. Let it rain on the pretty ones. The clouds celestial sun.
You'll Make It Love is actually was actually an observation on politics. It was I don't know. I'm not. I don't know. It's how we communicate with each other. Is that we're all inclined to be in these sort of echo chambers. People speak to people who agree with them, and we sort of people who are on the other side of the political line, where everyone's your enemy. Then everyone becomes your enemy if they don't agree. And that's what the sort of the chorus is saying. It's you and I, and them and us. I'll take your side. You'll make it love. You'll make it seem like love, just because you agree with me. But it's not always the kindest thing or the most helpful thing to agree with someone all the time. It's good to challenge. It's good to question, because then whatever our answers are much more thought out, and we've a better understanding of how we view our world. And yeah, so that's sort of what I'm trying to say in that song. It's sort of two-pronged. Sort of has that negative view, but it's also that feeling of a togetherness, of like me being able to speak to you now on the other side of the world. You know, it's that sort of critique of communication.
Yeah, no, and it's true. And like I said, knowing, well, one, watching videos and consuming media from all parts of the world. Now that you explain it like that, you'll make it love, like that being a very consistent saying from the UK, a very British type of what do you call it, saying that's just like, you know, you'll make it love, don't worry. This kind of like really reaffirming and really inspirational and introspective about that. So now that you explain it, it's like, that makes a lot more sense with it. So okay, man.
It was sort of intentionally the title sort of intentionally set to confuse you a bit.
Yeah, okay, no, yeah, because like I said, I was listening to the song and I'm just like, all right, the title makes sense, but now it makes sense when you kind of think about it, and with a little bit of explanation. Sometimes some things take a little bit of explanation to be able to grasp that, to get that hook in. So
sometimes I don't really mind if those things are unknown and sort of you decide what it means. I'm okay with that.
Gotcha.
Your meaning behind the song might be a lot more interesting than mine.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's but that's how it always is, and that's like how you're saying. There's always an interpretation to the way that we listen to music. Like you said, you're making the song to, like, you know, just to bop your head to, you know, just kind of jam out. But other people can take something different from that. I
always try to make sure that there's something there's something unique in the composition. Whether it's, are you a musician yourself? Have you created music?
Have
you worked in?
So
okay,
yeah. So just I had
a brief talk a wee bit of music.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So it's if I'm creating, I'm always looking for maybe a chord change that I haven't heard before, or some sort of tonal shift or melodic shift that maybe no one else has done. I always want to have my own sort of hallmark on a song. If I can't manage it in a musical sense, I'll try it with the words. Mm-hmm. I'll try to write a line that I can't imagine anyone else would try to put into a song. You know, that sort of. I don't see the point of being a carbon copy of what anyone else is doing, because they're already doing it and they're doing it well because we know them. So we may as well trying to very much make your own sound and say your own things.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. And in that one too. So moving on to the next one. So one that actually did catch my eye, and listening to it again, there's a very specific line in there, is "I am always kinder." So the line that really drew me in for that song was how you said, "I am always kinder in my dreams." How did that? Yeah. How, like, so like I said.
Well,
when we were still me and you, but I could never find the words to say. Sentimental never was our way. So sentimental love for me.
It's a wee bit funny, right? Well, we always like to think that we're like our story. We're the hero of our story. You know, you're generally a good person, right? That's what we always want to feel, right? And me and my current partner were having an argument, and my current partner, I was married for a short time, and I've stayed friends with my ex-wife, and me and my current partner were arguing, and my partner said, "Oh, you even treat her like," and said a bad word, and I'm like, "Do what? I'm not nice to people. I'm not nice to people." And literally, the argument hadn't ended half an hour, and I went and wrote that song almost all in one straight run.
Yeah.
All the words are written all in one straight run. It's that sense of You look at every situation, you're like, I think I'm doing the best I can, but you know, the person who's on the receiving end will make the choice on whether you're good or bad or not. And it's yeah, my intentions are always good. That's sort of like my way of saying, you know, my intentions were always good, no matter how I might seem. I was always trying to be a nice guy.
Gotcha. Yeah. No, that was when I was listening to that, and that was the biggest line that caught me during the listening to it again a
Yeah,
couple of times, and I was like, I'm always kind of in my dreams. Like, I figured I figured there was a bit of a story behind using it, that line, but yeah, no, that, and like I said, keep drawing from that inspiration of situations. Now,
oh, there isn't. I don't think there's a song on the record that doesn't come like straight from like a real life event.
exactly. And then rereading your bio and your press release about that, encompassing the entire album itself being
Yeah,
a retrospect of I think it was past 10 years, give or take,
yeah.
different interactions with your previous partner, and then just in general is one of those
What
things.
what generally with the album paints, it wasn't intentional. I picked songs that sort of married well together, you know, for the album. Sort of, we recorded one, and then I went, right, what's next? Oh, I sort of know what to do with this one. And by the time we got through the album, we're like, okay, this is a concept thing. There is messy relationship stuff. There is the uh, breakdown of the marriage and my new relationship and the order the songs run. The last three songs are about my new life and the hopes for the future. It's like the new beginning. It's basically my life mapped out in my romantic entanglements.
Yeah, no, and it makes a lot of sense, and a lot of the lyrics, you can feel a little bit of that, the retrospect, a lot of the personal reconciliation, I guess I want to say it like that,
Yeah,
with the way that the story is being told, because there's a story in there. There's definitely a story in there that, like, you can bring it up front, you can say it, you can put it out, however it is, but listening to each one of the tracks, you slowly start to grasp certain aspects of what it was, of this expansive experience that you went through,
yeah,
and in making the album. And that's one of those things that I think is very specific to, like you said, to artists, all types of artists, in a narrative or lyrical type of sense, from what do you call it, book authors to musicians and even filmmakers. There's that narrative and
yeah.
trying to grasp it.
I think it's important. I think it's important to be honest. Though I never let a good song get in the way of a. I'm always I'll twist real life to make it a more interesting song. Sometimes that's okay. But it's important that I can connect and stand by the message and the songs of the songs are saying. I can't second guess an audience and think what would be a cool thing, you know, what would be a cool perspective to have, or what will people really, really connect with. It's me being very, very honest to how I felt in the moment, and a lot of the songs were composed like in the moment the situation happened, or they're very, very raw. We were doing recording some shorts for YouTube the other day, where I do a little chat and describe what each song's about. I couldn't do it. I couldn't get through the session. It felt so personal talking about the material. I was like, oh, you feel like you're ripping your chest open. So I might have to find another angle to make that work. But I find it very, very hard to sort of, sit in a room. You're going through the 12 songs. Oh, and this one's about, and I was like, oh, it's a bit heavy. It's easier talking to you than it is sitting just staring at a camera.
Hey, well, and if it comes to it, we could definitely do a separate session. And like I said, definitely always be able to have me in the background, and I can
Yeah.
just ask you little bits and pieces of the song as they're playing, and just kind of give us a rundown of the story. That'd be a good concept too.
It could, yeah. It might be. A new offshoot for you. You can
Yeah.
do like a track by track commentary, album commentary.
Yeah, that'd be good. I'd definitely enjoy that one. Well, let's see. So, always kinder. This one stumped me a little bit, and I don't know if it might either be the accent, just the pronunciation, or the spelling itself. But area or aria.
Aria or area with the way you pronounce it, like the like an operatic aria.
Ah, gotcha.
Um,
Okay, that's what I'm like. I'm mishearing. I'm probably mishearing it, but
yeah,
now it makes sense.
yeah.
So
The chorus
the
it's a bit in the chorus,
uh
isn't it? That's me trying to be Fall Out Boy on the piano. Aria is written about a real girlfriend. She's not called Aria, but it was this relationship I got into that my uncle talked me into it because he thought she was a nice girl.
Before the nighttime runs out of dark, but you're screaming now and kicking at my door. I swore it was never gonna be this way. We were better off just friends, and now you turn up drunk and talk shit again.
And I knew her about 2 weeks, and she told me she'd been looking at wedding dresses, and it was a wee bit scary. And then we broke up, or I broke up with her, and she didn't take that very well. So I used to be like, I was like full-time musician, and so I was like lying sleeping after the gig at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I get a call, and it's Aria, and I'm like, oh, it's like 3 in the morning. Can I talk to you tomorrow? And she's like, I'm sitting on the bench outside your house, and it's raining. You're gonna have to let me in. And I'm like, oh no. So she was sort of she just get like sort of obsessed. And I always thought she'd be a fun idea for a song. So yeah, that's Aria's written about a real person. It's the most ridiculous of the songs I've got, and it's probably the most honest. It sounds almost like a cartoon, but it's quite spot on that one.
Yeah, and even listening to it, even listening to the whole chord progression and then the change of in between the partial bridge and then going into the chorus, I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, wait, hold on, this song is too, it's a little too upbeat for me. And then, but like I said, now recognizing the name, I'm like, all right, that makes a lot of sense with it, and then the lyrics and the story behind it.
It's not one to be mean either, because I think anyone I've had a relationship with, anyone you're close to or being close to, there's a sense of loyalty to not be mean or not be cruel. I didn't want the song to be overly harsh. I thought it's funny. It's a bit of a ridiculous. The relationship is a bit just a bit odd and ridiculous, and I thought the song sort of sat well with that.
Kind of,
and then it has that nice Spanish piano thing on the back end of each chorus, because I love Latin music, and I always try to squeeze a wee bit in somewhere. So there's two pianos playing there. There's two pianos playing there, sitting a third apart.
Yeah, no, I like replaying it in my head right now. I'm thinking, I'm like, there's a good mixture of the instruments in there. There's a good mixture of the instruments, and it plays well. It plays well with what do you call it? With the tone and the mood of the song and putting the lyrics together.
But then again, I do understand if it's not something you initially clicked onto, because again, in the context of the album, I look at things in the context of an album. I probably wouldn't put out Aria as a lead single, because who is that guy? Who's the Aria guy? But I understand that in the context of the record, I feel it fits. I feel it's got a place. I sort of look at it, the album as a whole.
Yep.
I don't really know what singles are. I'm just terrible at that idea. That one song to sum you up. It's like maybe you can help me. I'm terrible. We just put the album out as one. There's no lead single. It's like we just put the album out and let the audience pick what they like. Again, with Spotify and things, I mean, we can do that. That's sort of it's let the public vote with their ears type thing. You know, you don't really need to force a single on anyone anymore, because they can just pick. They can flick through the record and go, I like that, I don't like that, I like that, I don't like that. You know, they can sort of just pick. You don't have to go out and shell out whatever it was for a CD or something like that. You know.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys over there. The CDs used to be, shoot, I want to say about maybe 20 pounds, give or take, so about like $15-20.
I can remember that a very good birthday, like being a kid, like a very good birthday could be like 3 or 4 CDs.
Oh yeah.
You know, it was like they were expensive.
Yeah, very true, very
And
true.
now music's close to free. You know,
Yeah.
it's very, very almost free.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's a little bit of a tagline at the very end of that just kind of like, that's a personal opinion question, but we'll skirt that one off for a little bit. But yeah, no, it's still very
Okay.
true when it comes to the consumption of music, and then just the consistency, the consistent necessity for people to continuously just keep releasing singles and singles, but no major compilation projects. That's one thing I noticed. So yeah, you're very right,
Yeah, well,
especially with that.
the only reason I did this was because, again, I just artistically, honestly, I just wouldn't be able to pick a single. I mean, I just wouldn't. I just wouldn't be able to, you know, because that single is sort of, you know, you get the artist and then the single, and they're sort of this one thing. They're this conjoined thing. Um, I think the music I read is so eclectic that one song sort of, you don't get to see, you don't get to sort of see what I do in one song. I feel it quite restrictive.
Yeah, very true, very true. So, and then with the last song itself, so Under the Sun, I want to say that is the last song on the album itself, right?
It is.
It
Yeah.
is. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to just slowly recap it. That's your closer. It's a very soft, very piano driven song in itself.
Yeah.
And listening to it, it was really, it was like a satisfying, really satisfying melancholy to me. How I listened to it.
Yeah, it was a song about
We watch the stars stand down through empty darkness, each sitting proudly. Are they happy alone? The universe expands through all the ages till there's no time left. Man takes his last breath alone.
maybe starting this relationship I'm in now, was starting a new relationship, being terrified. And do you ever get that you might talk yourself out of a lot of good things in life? Sometimes you'll talk yourself out of good things. And that was sort of me talking to myself and going, you know what? The universe is massive. There's so much happens in creation. You know, I'm nothing. I'm the smallest wee thing. And why am I acting like anything I could want could destroy everything, or something's going to be a big deal? It's just allow yourself to love. That's what that song's saying. It's just you know, allow yourself to love. It's the simplest thing in the world. Don't make it complicated. Just allow yourself to love.
Yeah, and it's a really good closing song. Like I said, it's very piano driven. It's very like I said, it gave me a very good satisfying end to the whole journey. I guess the whole journey, listening to it and re-listening to the whole thing.
Here's something for you. You see, if you listen then to the first song, which is called How It Ends,
Yeah,
the intro of how it ends steals a little bit of the melody of Under the Sun.
wow. Yeah, and that's what I was wondering too.
They sort of tie each other up.
Yeah, looking at the titles, I was looking as like, how are you gonna put under? What do you call it? Under the Sun, I thought like originally when I was listening to it, when we first started, I'm thinking it's like, all right, Under the Sun is gonna be that, but it was the Spotify shuffle. It had kind of screwed me up, but what do you call it?
No, I wanted to feel like it wasn't the end. It was the beginning of a new chapter where we're going to tell a new story now. We were on to a new story. How it ends is, do you ever see those sort of indie movies? I'm trying to think, maybe Tarantino, where you sort of start at this sort of tragic point, like the guys get a gun to his head, and then they say 2 days before.
Oh yeah.
That's how I wanted the story of the album to tell. So how it ends is me at an all-time low. The album starts at an all-time low, and then it tells the story of how I got there. It goes through then the relationship stories, and then the Better Without You song, that's the turn. That's me leaving the past behind. The Better Without You song is leaving everything behind. And Nola's gambling on a new start.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first time I'm not looking back, I'm looking forward.
Gotcha. Yeah. And for me personally, the one that I really liked was actually Heart of Iron. That one was it caught me a lot. Like out of the entire thing, the whole thing really, I don't know, I can't explain it, but I was listening to it, and I listened to it a couple times. It's like, there's something here, and then the lyrics hit in a very different and very specific type of way. So Heart of Iron, how's that one? Because it like looking at the order of it, it fits right after I'm Always Kind. It's 2 songs before I'm Always Kinder, and it's right before Aria.
Yeah, it's written about the same person as I'm Always Kinder is written about.
Stone cold velvet tongue, systematically highly strung, and you get all your friends whispering again, hard pressed for someone new. Desperate times makes a desperate you. Now you're hanging out bars, cover up the scars. I'm needing just sick.
Man, so dang. So okay.
I wasn't very kind when I was writing Heart of Iron. I listen to that and it makes me go.
Yeah.
I listen to it a wee bit. I do cringe off a wee bit whenever I hear it. But it's how I felt at an exact moment of time. You ever get that? You get someone you've known and there's someone you've been close to, and they show a different side of their personality, and you're like, I never even knew you. I didn't even know you, and what was the point in never knowing you? I was like really angry. It's like the most angry song on the record, and it's like you know that I'm needing just a second to adjust. It's like, you know, it's that. It's like, oh, you're not who I thought you were, and yeah, it's just being angry in the moment. Doesn't really sum a human being up. I try my best not to be that arrogant in some an entire person's life or personality or existence up. But I was just real angry guy in the moment. And that song, the music was written quick, and I was frightened to write the song. I could feel what it was about, and every time I sat to write a lyric, I was pulling back. All I had for the longest time was, I'm needing just a second to adjust. And then that was it. I hadn't got the verses written, I couldn't write a lyric until I sat down and went, I'm gonna be honest now. Okay, this is what I felt when I was writing this.
Man.
It's brutal. The lyrics are brutal. It's a brutal song.
Oh yeah, very direct, very direct, and it's like, and I was listening to it, and I was like, this really does hit in a very specific way, especially like just the descriptors of the behavior. I think that was the biggest thing that caught me, with the melody, how it just really melded with the melody, and it just emphasized it. It emphasized it a little bit more every single time. But whenever when you get to the chorus and you finish off the chorus, it's just like, boom, that's the Heart of Iron. Like you're just cold. It's you're cold, unfeeling, unmolding. That's your
Yeah,
set.
and I like it's the you know when they say someone's here's well I'll give you a wee go. I'll give you a wee slip into what those lines meant to me whenever I was
Mhm.
writing them. You ever you know you get the term I don't know if they have it there. They said they've got a soft heart. Someone's
Yeah.
soft hearted, right? And this was me maybe telling the other person you're not who you think you are. You know, it's you'll find your molten heart's a heart of iron. You know, you don't have a
Yeah.
soft heart, you have a hard heart. And that was very much I think the premise of it. But a lot of the times, if I'm completely honest, almost any lyric you hear in the record, I'm not really consciously thinking about a scenario at the time. It's very stream of consciousness. I'll sit at the piano and the song's coming out as I'm sitting at the piano. Normally the verse and the chorus are like will be completed in one sitting, and then I'll have to when it comes to writing verse two, that's when I have to sit down and go, oh, that's what I'm writing about. That's
Hmm.
what it's about. It literally comes out in stream of consciousness most of the time, or it's almost everything in that record probably. It comes out in stream of consciousness. They get verse, chorus, and then I have to stop and go, oh, that's what I'm writing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and that's a very well. It's always interesting for me. It's always interesting learning and listening about the writing process, and having the what do you call it? What makes the song and the lyrics fit together and the inspirational level. And then yeah, that's very correct. Well, that's very true and how you
For
say it.
for me, for the balance between lyric and music, there has to be a sweet and sour thing. If a melody's overly bouncy, you have to put a bit of edge into what you're saying. You know, it can't be um, or if the melody's dark, it needs to have a bit of hope to it. You know,
Mhm.
you create balance between the music and the words. Because you go all one way, it becomes too encompassing. You know, you write a dark piece of music and the words are dark and um, it becomes too heavy. Like just the same as if you're writing something that's quite poppy and floaty, and if the words are "Oh, I love you and you love me and we're brilliant," and that's just too dull for me. I need to have that contrast within the song.
Yeah, no, very true, very true. So with that in mind, then what are you working on any new projects? We're sitting in approximately literally coming in at the mid end of the year. Sorry, at the midpoint of the year. Are you working
Yeah.
on any projects for these next coming for the remainder of the 2025 going into 2026?
Well, the album dropped 3 weeks ago,
Hmm.
so it's majorly promoting that. I might do a bit of live work that we can at least film for social media in a couple of months, about September time. What I'm doing right now is recording the next record. We've got enough material for like 3 albums, so we're just started recording the next record.
Gotcha, man. Well, hope
We
this
just started
helps.
recording the next record.
Yeah,
We've got a bit of momentum, and I just want to keep that going.
yeah. No, that's good. That's good. Well, hopefully this little promotion reel helps out with this interview helps out with the promotion reels and
I
other.
really appreciate it. It's really great talking to you.
Yeah, no, not a problem. So well, with that, let's I think we can go ahead and actually close it off. What do you say, Jay? I think
Okay.
I really
Yeah.
appreciate you coming on for the interview and one letting me ask you about your writing process, about the experience of writing the what do you call it, writing and producing the album itself.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
before we close it off, where can I let my listeners, or just to be able to promote you, where can anybody find you, both music wise and then
J
social media?
J St James Music. You'll find me on all socials. The album's on Spotify. J St James, you and the others, and check it out and drop us a DM and we'll have a chat. I like to talk to everyone who's following and sort of build a community. I'm really appreciative for anyone who gives their time and is interested in music.
Yeah, always. So yeah, so we'll go ahead. We'll keep we'll keep looking at everything that's coming out, and like I said, really looking forward to whatever comes from the future, especially in your endeavor to continue making music, to continue to pursue this passion. So, but yeah, again, thank you, Jay. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much for your help, and I look forward to maybe speaking to you again.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we can definitely set something up in the future, so not a problem. But yeah, we'll go ahead and we'll close it off right now. So thank you, Jay. Have a good rest of your evening, afternoon. I can't remember time zones now, so
We both know how it is. Maybe a distant satellite watches over